Greetings, my beloved Black people. Welcome back to the plight and struggle of Black people in America. Today, as we do on Sundays, we're going to talk about some prominent Black people that we Black people all should know, need to know, and we can always find out who they are through research, and that's what I encourage through all of the series of talking about prominent Black people. I'm hopeful that you do your individual research because I'm giving an overview of various individuals, and that overview shows definitely good things. But when you check these people out thoroughly, our Black people, they have done things, are doing things, and will do things. And wow, the future is bright because we're on our way to uniting as a people, collectively loving each other, and we're on our way. So let's start with the brother, Reverend Leon Sullivan. Brother Leon Sullivan was born October 16th, 1922 in Charleston, West Virginia. And he died April 24th, 2001, Scottsdale, Arizona at the age of 78. Brother Sullivan was a Baptist minister, civil rights leader, and social activist focusing on the creation of jobs for Black people. He became a Baptist minister at the tender age of 18. And Brother Reverend Leon Sullivan came to Philadelphia at the age of 27 to pastor a church, the Zion Baptist Church, in 1950. Brother Sullivan could see from the pulpit the needs of the people. And the situation was that the people needed jobs, and there were many jobs available, but the problem was the people weren't trained and qualified and up to the knowledge of the jobs to get the jobs. And that's when Reverend Leon Sullivan decided to fill that void. And the brother, he's done many things. And one of the big things that he has done, he created a learning institution called OIC, Opportunities Industrialization Center. He started originally right in Philadelphia, North Philadelphia on Broad Street. And it turned into Opportunities Industrialization Centers International, and they had schools not only across the nation of these states, even across the waters. They even had branches in Africa. As a matter of fact, speaking of Africa and speaking of Brother Leon Sullivan, when you get a chance, go to YouTube, looking up Brother Leon Sullivan and look for the talk that he said, and he called it Once in a While. It's great. Watch when you check them out. Now, what's so great too, when you're from a city, as I am, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, and they have so many Black people that have dedicated their lives to standing up for the well-being and betterment of Black people collectively. And you see that as a child, it is so inspiring, especially like one example of, I actually was in the presence of Reverend Leon Sullivan when I was a child. I was in junior high school, Vaux Junior High School in Philadelphia. And it was between lunch periods in the lunchroom. And I was sitting at this table, and I saw this man, this brother, standing beside the table. I looked up, and wow, that brother was tall. And I was telling my one friend from Philadelphia, James Canada, the other day, that wow, he looked so tall. He was tall. And my friend James told me, oh, it's probably because you was young. But no, the brother was 6'5". And what's so great, I was in junior high school then. And when I went to high school, I graduated high school at 17. And due to situation like my pop died when I was 12, I was getting Social Security checks. And when you're in school in those eras, the 70s and the 80s, when you're in school, if your parent had passed and you qualify for those Social Security benefits due to the fact they have been a worker taking care of their family, at that time you can get Social Security benefits for yourself, a check if you stayed in school full time. Okay, well, I had mentioned before I had applied to go to a school through a grant. I was denied. They said the reason was because I wasn't registered to vote, but I was 17. So anyway, that's sort of how OIC came into play for me. And it was so great that a Black man had created an institution that I needed so desperately in my life at 17. And what the deal was, okay, you were supposed to be 18 years old to attend OIC. I was 17. But since I had a high school diploma, they say, yes, you can come on in, which means my Social Security checks kept coming. And along that way, I was able to take care of the business I needed to and qualify for the other school and all that sort of thing. But just imagine if Brother Reverend Leon Sullivan didn't have that learning institution available for a young brother like myself. I was 17 years old. What would I have done? I really don't know, but that's why it's so important that we do as many things as we can to create institutions that's created for the well-being and betterment of our own people. I mean, we've learned a lot of lessons between the first time we landed here as the enslaved Africans from Africa, that portion of history, which we know our history is thousands of years before that experience. But we're here now, and we need to make the best of it. And all of us, we need to make contributions towards the well-being and betterment of our own Black people. That's what we should do. So anyway, Brother Reverend Leon Sullivan did such great things, and we're going to honor him forever. At least I am. Anyway, the next brother is Cecil B. Moore. This brother also did many things, helping Philadelphians in general and North Philadelphians specifically, I believe. Anyway, Cecil B. Moore, he was an attorney. He was born April 2nd, 1915 in West Virginia. And he died February 15, 1979 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the age of 63. Cecil B. Moore, he was a very interesting fellow. He was a lawyer, politician, civil rights activist who led the fight to integrate Girard College. The brother was also president of the NAACP Philadelphia branch. And he did so many things to help those that were less fortunate. The brother was a defense attorney, and many times he would represent Black people that didn't have money for expenses in the legal world, and the brother would step in and help like he always would do. The brother, he was really into working with our youth, and that's a great thing, and I'm really into that myself. Our youth, which I love all our people, but our babies are my favorite for sure. Moore and some teenage protesters, they had helped end segregation at Philly's Girard College. The 1965 protest lasted outside of that North Philly school for 7 months and 17 days. You see, and see, that's what some people don't understand. When you say, I'm gonna protest, I'm gonna picket, I'm gonna do this, that, in that manner, you've got to be ready to go for the long haul. I mean, you've got to be ready to go for years if necessary. I mean, literally, this is not figurative talk. This is real talk. Fortunately for me, okay, I grew up in a place around Black people that stood and fought for Black people, but then I come to Dallas, Texas, and then at some point, I was able to get involved with some people here locally called the Warriors during protesting, led by Dallas County Commissioner John Wally Price. And wow, you know, it's so interesting because so many times I've noticed that people find out something that they can do coincidentally. This one situation, I never forget it. It was these little Black children. This one little fella was like about 12, I think, and his brother was about 6, I believe. And his brother was blind. Okay. Anyway, the 12-year-old fella, he had piano lessons, played piano well. One day, the little 6-year-old that couldn't see, never had piano lessons ever in his life, got on the piano and played everything that his brother played. Now, what is that? I really don't know, but my point is this. If that little blind fella, little brother, if he had never been around a piano, he would never have known that he had that built-in talent, skill, or whatever it is, right? I'm looking at it like that with being on the picket line with Dallas County Commissioner John Wiley Price and the rest of the Warriors. I would have never known that I actually have a wild, powerful skill and ability on that bullhorn. And while I was pretty good. And it made me think about back in the day in North Philly, when the original Black Panther parties were handling business, and they literally marched in the street the same way we did here in Dallas. But when they did the bullhorn protest thing, the difference was whoever led the chant, the background would repeat exactly what that person said. But in Dallas, when we was handling it, when I was on the horn, I said whatever I said. And then the background said no justice, no peace. You know what I'm saying? And we was handling business. And wow, I know there's all kind of video and film and good stuff like that about that. So I think about that when I think about brother Cecil B. Moore, the attorney, working with youth and teenagers, getting them involved in the fight. See, that's what we got to do. We got to get our babies involved in our fight to realize that it's all about all of us. Just a short piece of information about even during slavery time in this nation. I've read so many books and there's so many great information inside of books. There were even times that when Black people would go deep into the woods to sneak and teach each other how to read, they would leave miles and yards away from the site where they would have children up in the trees, that when they saw those Caucasian people coming, they would make a certain sound that they were told to make. And then that would let the adults know, hey, they coming, so hey, get your business straight. Let's, handle our thing. So see, our babies, they got to be involved too. And I'm 62, so when I say babies, I'm talking about like our teenagers, our pre-generational people. Okay, generational 20 years. So generations 20, 40, 60, and 80. So that's 20s and 30s together, 40s and 50s, on and on. So those 19 and before, those are the pre-generational Black babies of ours. And wow, our babies are courageous. Fortunately, young Black parents and our babies don't have to tolerate some of the things that our parents had to tolerate, because I didn't tolerate a lot of stuff I've heard about. And part of that is growing up in the North rather than the South, I believe, because, okay, I'm growing up in the 60s and 70s. And if I'm not mistaken, here in Dallas, Texas, in the 60s and 70s, Black people may have had to ride the back of the bus, I believe. But in Philadelphia, ain't no way we was riding the back of no bus. Not my lifetime, anyway. But anyway, moving right along. Anyway, back to this brother Cecil B. Moore, the attorney. Okay, I grew up actually 1716 North Taney Street. Okay, that's right in North Philadelphia, off of this street called Columbia Avenue. And then right around the corner from there was 27th Street. So I would always say I live at 27th in Columbia. Well, actually, what's so great, these days, 27th in Columbia, Columbia Avenue, is now 27th and Cecil B. Moore Avenue. That happened in 1987. See, and that's what's so great, too. A lot of times our brothers and sisters do great things, and they definitely need to be recognized for their greatness, and I think we do pretty good at that. Actually, I got a feeling the only thing that Black people are not doing very well at is being united as a people. When we get that one, and it's coming, we get that one. Ooh, it's on, on and popping. So Cecil B. Moore was a defense attorney, civil rights activist in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and he helped integrate construction sites, post office jobs, and schools. See, if you notice, Black people that's really serious about helping our people, they go where it's at as far as jobs, schools, educations, money. Just to back up on brother Leon Selden, just like I told you, please research these people. Brother Leon Selden, this fella started a place called Progress Plaza. This is what I hear they call sometimes strip malls down here. I never heard that term before coming to Texas. but Progress Plaza, Broad Street, Broad in Oxford, I believe. The brothers. You see what I'm saying? That's what's so great. So yeah, Reverend Cecil B. Moore did those things. Reverend Leon Sullivan did some things, and we're coming to the last brother that did some things too in Philadelphia. And this brother, quite interesting, just like all our brothers and sisters. This brother was born February 20th, 1935, in North Philly. And this brother died April 20th, 2020, at the age of 85 from dementia in Germantown. That's not North Philly, but people in North Philly know Germantown's not that far. And unfortunately, when I was growing up, North Philly was known to be such a horrible neighborhood reputation-wise, and Germantown and a couple of others. Even West Philly was said to be a much better neighborhood than North Philly when I was growing up. But these days, and it's been for quite a while now too, Germantown isn't looked at as such a special neighborhood as it was at one time, like when I was growing up, you know. But anyway, they say that's where the brother died, in his home. So that's really cool too. This brother was born and raised in North Philly. Come to find out too, the brother even went to the high school I went to, Benjamin Franklin High School, public school, all male. But in the story, though, it says that unfortunately, to difficulties in the home, because it turned out too that the brother was the youngest of 5 children, which so am I. But the brother, unfortunately, due to circumstances at the home, it says he dropped out of high school in 11th grade. And then the brother joined the military, and he served in that Korean War, I believe it was. And so when he came back, you know, because the educational system and jobs and things back in those days, a bit different than these days, because the brother didn't have his high school diploma, but when he came back, he was still able to become a police officer. And I suspect that had a lot to do with him having military experience. And so the brother ended up coming back from the military, became a police officer. It turned out he actually did eventually get his high school diploma at 40 years old. The brother did 13 years on the police force, Philadelphia police force, and then he felt like he had committed himself to this ministry, the street ministry that he had created. And so that's what he did. And he was really known for driving around in his van with a coffin on it, with a mannequin on it, and this type of thing. And again, tell you the truth, and this brother, I remember this brother personally in my life. If I had to guess, I'm gonna say I was about somewhere between 9 and 12. This brother was doing this back then, and he came on my block, and there was a lady on our block called Miss Minnie, I think we called her. I think her name was actually Manning, but I believe she's the one that brought this brother, invited him to our block. And this brother, and I'm talking about late 60s, early 70s, this brother came on our block, set up the recorder and everything and screen, and showed us video of how people that were on heroin, how their lives were. As far as, you know, you have your little homies, you doing your thing. Like, for instance, you might be somewhere shooting drugs, whatever, and somebody start ODing. They showed where they would take them, put them in the car, dump them in the parking lot, the emergency room, and keep going, all these type of things. And so my point is, too, with this brother showing us these things, there was no way I was going to never touch no needles. I don't like needles with the doctor. There's no way I'm going to play with them. So that was great. So, you know, it is so great to see people that's right there in your world that you can literally touch, that have dedicated their life to contributing to the well-being and betterment of Black people. Now, just imagine if 40% of Black people did that. Because fortunately, it don't take 100% of us. You know what I'm saying? No 100% of people participate in one thing. I don't care what people they are. But fortunately, It doesn't take 100% of us to make things better for 100% of us. Wow, we're powerful people. And see, that's what happens when you're around people look like you, that love people that look like you, and it's all about helping people that look like you. Like, for instance, this picture on my shirt. This is me, 2007, in Jenner, Louisiana. See, and me knowing what I can do from the experience I had here with the Warriors in Dallas on the picket line with County Commissioner John Wiley Price and them, I went there knowing I'm going to be on the bullhorn. And I believed it. And what it turned out, I was on the bullhorn. Okay, but anyway, that Jenner, Louisiana thing, if y'all know about it, it was a situation in this Jenner, Louisiana town, Jena. They say Gina. We say Jenner. Anyway, it was 6 brothers at this high school, I believe, predominantly white high school. Well, anyway, these brothers got into a fight with some white guys, some Caucasian boys. So anyway, they got into a fight. Long story short, the fight was over. The Caucasian authorities got involved. They claimed that these brothers used tennis shoes, hitting these Caucasian boys, had these brothers in jail, locked up, charged with murder because of a physical fight between some teen school mates. And they had these 6 brothers, like I say, locked up for murder. And it was this brother had a radio show named Michael Basin. Okay. I don't know how he pulled it off, but he did. And what happened was, okay, 5 of those 6 got out on bail. But this one brother named Michael Bell couldn't get out for whatever reason. I suspect the bail money, but I'm not sure if that was it or another technicality. Long story short, this brother Michael Basin set out a call for black people. Let's go to jail and handle our business. And black people responded. That was so great. I mean, and black people, black institutions, all sorts of things, because I was at the time still working. I was working for the U.S. Postal Service, and our national APW union sent buses to Dallas, and I know Chicago, because we met some of them people in Jenner too. And everybody was on board to go to Jenner, Louisiana for one black young brother. You feel me? We went for one brother, so that's great, and that's what we need to do. When we see any black person being messed with improperly, we'll be there. That's what we need to live like. Keep living like, let's go back, let's do what we do. Yeah, because we're some great people. So anyway, so that's the type of inspiration you get when you grow up around black people standing up for you and themselves. But another great experience, man, I tell you, life is so interesting, so many great things. Okay, well, I'm headed to Jenner, Louisiana, some other fellow post employees. And I'm already knowing when I get there, I'm going to be on the horn. You know, I had already planned, prepared, and practiced. So anyway, me and this lady named Gussie, I hadn't seen her in years. I don't even know where she is. We get off the bus because traffic was everywhere. So we got off the bus, and there was this young brother. Turned out his name is Chris Keith. And his brother is a builder here in Dallas. He wasn't then, I'm sure. This brother is good friends, a good acquaintance or something with my great buddy and mentee, Eric Johnson, which Eric Johnson is going to have a show tonight, The Switch Within. The topic is murder music on YouTube. Check that out, because I'll definitely be checking it out. Anyway, I get off the bus, and I see this young brother say, is there anybody that can chant, do the bullhorn, whatever he said? I'm like, here I am. I'm like, so anyway, so homie, he come over there with the horn. He give it to me. He say, yeah, what we gonna do? I say, no, homie, what we gonna do? I'm gonna say what I say, and then y'all gonna say no justice, no peace. And that's the way that went. And I know it's some great footage out there. I'm telling you, we walked them streets of that town getting down. We having some business over there. And this brother, Chris Keith, it turned out just recently, he said that his uncle in Atlanta had some footage from that Jenner, Louisiana thing. And wow, I sure want to see that, because I'm telling you, that was my own. Matter of fact, if any of y'all got some, I know somebody got some, because it was cameras, videos, all kinds of recording material and video recording material out there that I know is some good stuff out there. As a matter of fact, this picture right here was from that. And this picture, along with other brothers and sisters you can't see because of the graphics, it was in the USA Today. You know, that's where I got that from. So that's a great thing. So my black people, man, we can do this. So anyway, talking about and closing up and wrapping up on brother, they even say Reverend Melvin Floyd because he became a minister after being a police officer. Then he did his street ministry. And just reading the details, it said he dropped out of Benjamin Franklin High School in 11th grade and joined the Army and served in the Korean War from 1953 to 1955. He was on the police force from 1959 to 1972. And the brother, he even had joined the gang at the age of 11, but he found religion at the age of 12. And then he started, and that happened after he was talked to by a young man on the streets preaching to him. And so, you know, life go how it goes, but I think good intentions make the difference so many times, good intentions. And hey, that's why it's so crucial that we know about our people. These black people, all of these black people you see behind me, all of these black people love black people. And when we love ourselves, we'll unite, utilize our resources for our own well-being, and we'll be great. And we will thrive rather than merely survive. That's real talk. And we can do this and we're going to do it. Because I know about this. And I'm loving this. I'm going to keep loving this. Y'all going to keep loving this. That's what we do. Wow, wow, wow. I love my people. Saving it out. I love my people. Beautiful black people. I love my people. I love my people. Black people.